Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Misplay podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Tyler.
And this is the podcast where we talk about anything and everything TCG related.
Yep.
And we have a lot to talk about in this episode.
We do. It's been a little bit since our last episode. These come out monthly, bi-monthly, every 6 weeks.
Whenever we decide to film.
Whenever we film. Whenever we have enough topics to talk about. And look, we could talk about one topic for an hour, but no one would watch it.
No, I would, but
we would.
One view's not so
Adam
much.
would. But we've actually got some decent topics to talk about because...
Exciting time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
Absolutely.
That's
we
for
feel
sure.
like this upcoming year, well, so far, and the upcoming, is the best year to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Do you have like a favorite set from last year, 2021, at all?
Ooh. Do you have a list of the sets?
I know, I liked Brothers of Legends Synchro... Not Brothers of Legends. No, it was Brothers of Legends Synchro Storm because it was the earliest printing.
I'm going to look it up.
But like Burst of Destiny was obviously really good.
That was this year.
No, that was last year, right? Burst of Destiny was it? Or am I completely out of sync? If Burst of Destiny was this year, 2022 is my favorite year of YGO, period.
Let me have a look.
I'm pretty sure that was last year.
Where it was this year. I swear it was like start of this year.
Okay, if it was, I apologize.
Okay, so here we go from January. We got Legendary Duelist Season 2.
Yep.
We have Blazing Vortex.
Yep.
Freezing
Didn't think
Chains. Ghost in the Past. Ancient Guardians. Lightning Overdrive. King's Court. Dawn of Majesty.
I like Dharma. Dharma was cool.
Burst
magic-y
of
set.
Destiny.
That was last year. Okay.
It would have to be Burst of Destiny.
I think Burst of
That was
Destiny.
my biggest set by a country mile.
Yeah. Dharma, Burst of Destiny, they're probably my two favorites with Synchro Storm just because of Lyrilisk. But we've already got, getting some crazy sets. Dimension Force provides, especially for Exorcist Boss Monster, I think Power of the Elements is going to be the set that get us because that's where it's going to have two cards for Punk. I'm getting, the two new Punk cards are in Power of the Elements, I believe.
New cards?
The new cards.
Sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
the new support.
So
Yes.
there's two waves of support
Yeah.
for Punk.
Yeah.
One's coming out in
Dimension Force.
Yeah. The other two cards, which are really good, are coming
Power of the
out in
Elements.
Power of the Elements, I believe.
But there are two archetypes close to our heart that support just got announced the Power of the Elements.
Yes.
Rikka
Yes.
and...
Mathmech?
Yes. Do you want to talk a little bit about this, your history with Mathmech,
Yes.
and how much this card helps?
Let me go through it. I adore Mathmech. They are one of my all-time favorite archetypes. You can vouch for that. I love them. I love mechs. I love math. Actually, speaking of math, do you want me to give you a quick math equation, which I actually learned?
Absolutely not. You can tell me later. But, so when I jumped back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And when you got me into Yu-Gi-Oh! Do you know the set that was the most recent set? It was a side set.
Mystic Fighters, right?
Yes, which has Dragon Maid, Generator, Mathmech.
Mathmechs, yeah.
We now play all three.
Yes. It's weird how some of these old sets come back and they just provide us with the decks that we're probably going to love for a very long time.
Yep.
But I've been playing Mathmechs since we kind of started. They were really good. So we started doing tiers. It was S, A, B, C, D, and E. Got rid of E pretty quickly. A lot of decks were in D. D ended up getting removed because the level of play ended up improving. So C tier is kind of the bottom level right now. Still competitive, but can't compete with A for the most part. Got rid of S because there just weren't any decks running through everything like Eldritch was initially and Virtual World was initially. Virtual World's still really good, but not S. It's A tier.
Yeah.
Mathmech used to be king of B tier.
Yes.
If you struggled to get through Mathmech, but if you got through Mathmech, you're probably an A tier deck.
Yeah.
And then they fell off.
They were the
completely.
gatekeepers, and then
They fell off. They struggled to compete in C tier at times because this level of C tier improved. So they were unsleeved. They were in a box of all these decks that I'm currently building. I was going to wait. I was like, I'll wait for support.
Yeah.
And then Mathmech Circular got announced. And that is one of the single best support cards I have for any of my archetypes. It special summons itself. It Foolish Burials at the same time. And it will search a Mathmech spell or trap if something else is special summoned while it's on the field. Does three crucial things to any archetype in one card.
What do we always say? If a card has three effects, it is God tier.
Absolutely.
And people are calling this the custom card set because these archetypes are getting supports that are just incredible.
Crazy. So we just did a proof of concept play, it was Mathmech versus Generator, and then it was versus Ghost Trick. Generator with summon limit, I can't really do much.
Yep.
Whoop-de-doo. Ghost Trick, your new build with Ghost Trick, which I think we spoke about in the previous episode, much better. This is the best Ghost Trick I've ever been, and it was just got rid of everything. Everything in your hand, everything on the field. It was really, really good. So the proof of concept works.
Yes.
And that's really, really good to see from one card.
Singular card.
Yes.
How incredible is that?
So
and your playstyle of it has changed after playing Tri Brigade.
So, yeah, all I will say, because it wasn't even after Tri Brigade, it was some random dude online said that this kind of changes Mathmech Superfactorial to a Tri Brigade Revolt, because now it's so much easier to get all of the resources ready to go. Because Circular special summons itself, and it Foolish Burials, and it searches it if I need it. So the fact that I can one card go into a Tri Brigade Revolt essentially for Mathmex means that I can summon out Lashion, I think it is.
Yep.
And then just send two cards from your field and one from your hand to the graveyard. Really, really good on trigger.
Trishula.
Yes, yeah, I can Trishula.
Yeah.
Which is extremely good.
It's insane.
That's the card I'm most looking forward to so far this year.
It's insane that... Because we were also talking about it before, would you rather one busted card for your archetype or like 2 or 3 really good cards? But that card is fucking busted.
Yeah, his archetype, it's busted.
Busted.
I'm so happy.
And in similar vein, an archetype I love is Rikka.
Yes, you get 2 phenomenal cards.
And I get 2 incredible cards. So if you haven't heard any of our stuff before, we love field spells.
Yes,
We adore archetypes with a field spell as I feel like it just fits the theme better. We're all about theming in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Rikka have never had a field spell. Rikka, if you don't know, they were in Secret Slayers. They were the set that was next to Adamancipator and Eldritch. And if you're in that set but you're not those two, you're going to be pushed to the side and people aren't going to give a shit about you. And that's what happened. But Rikka are actually really fun and unique. Because they were not the power, the strength of those two meta archetypes.
The potential's there. If you don't know what Rikka do, they essentially just tribute your opponent's stuff.
Yeah. They're all about tributing your stuff and tributing your opponent's stuff. And the field spell allows you to... The deck is so slow and so sluggish and there's no way to recur and get back for a turn 2. This field spell allows it to do that and allows you to use your opponent's monsters as tribute fodder.
So it does 2 things, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. 1, search a spell or trap once per turn.
Set a spell or trap once per turn.
Very good.
From the deck.
Secondly, if you were to tribute a Rikka monster to activate a Rikka monster's effect, you can tribute one of your opponent's monsters, correct?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. Because every Rikka has tribute a thing on the field.
It's a Lair of Darkness. So Lair of Darkness sees play every now and then, but never to too much success because the actual Lair of Darkness archetype / the Lament archetype, not good. But Rikka actually function quite well.
Yes, and this just allows it to go again next turn and allows it to go second. And then we have a hand trap that allows... It's a monster effect negate hand trap that also can special summon itself to get a body on the field.
It's the best... negate is a monster effect negate that can recur
in modern
itself.
Yu-Gi-Oh, monster effect negate that can recur.
So damn good. Who would have thought you would have got a Lair of Darkness that searches plus a monster effect negate from hand?
Do you know what's really fun? So the monster effect negate, it's a hand trap. All you can do is tribute one on the field. But if the field spell's up, you got to tribute one of theirs.
So not only are my Mathmechs getting tributed, I'm getting negated.
Yes.
So
2 incredible cards that help the archetype so much. And this, I think, shows why it's fine to move off of dark archetypes, move off of decks, sell decks. But if you love a deck, just unsleeve it.
No, speaking exactly of that, because I was thinking about that last night. When Mathmech fell out of B, they weren't competing in C. I unsleeved them. I kept them there for months.
Yeah.
I haven't ran them. You haven't seen me run them at all. And I was like, maybe I should just pop them on eBay. You know, maybe. Put them towards something else that I'm building, some other trash. And I'm very glad I didn't, because now I've got one of the best support cards I've seen for one of our archetypes. Same thing with Rikka. And Rikka haven't been played. It's the same situation. They've just been sitting on the bench. And it's because of specifically Circular, your Rikka Field Spell, and your Hand Trap that just got announced has made me not want to move off certain decks that I know I enjoy, but I know it just needs support.
Exactly. This proves of, look, it's fine to sell stuff. Archetypes you're never really going to play, you don't enjoy that much. But if you love it, but shit, just unsleeve it.
That's why I need to get those Valkyrie cards when I can. If they
For
ever
the fifth fucking time, he's going to get the Valkyrie
they're
cards.
so cool.
It's
But
like
they're garbage.
before the most recent Phantom Knight support. They were all right, fell out of meta, but they just got, was it 3 new cards in Phantom Rage or whatever?
Yeah, they got like Stain Greaves and Xyz Monster
Torn
and
Scales,
something.
a bunch of stuff, right?
Torn Scales,
So
yeah,
if
sorry.
you love these archetypes, just unsleeve them. You don't need to sell them. Sell them if you don't like the archetype, you're never going to play it, but it's fine to just shelve a deck for a while.
Yeah, like because we've got so many we go through, and it used to be that feeling where, you know what, this isn't working too well, and if it's not working too well, you don't have too much fun, and it's like, well, maybe I should just move off of it.
Yeah.
Now it's like I feel happy letting it sit there.
Yeah.
Focus on some of the other decks, like while Mathmech's out, because that's going to be out to about August, I think, so a long time.
We're a long while away.
So like now, like I ordered some more Subterra cards. I'm like, I'm just gonna build this in the meantime,
Yeah.
and have some fun with that. And maybe, you know, when Mathmech comes around, it'll rotate out Subterra. Maybe Subterra will get support at some point. It's not something I want to sell.
It's understanding that some decks have an end date, have a time limit, and some do not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important. For if you're getting into Yu-Gi-Oh more and more, you don't have to sell your decks. You can just shelve them, put them away, and wait, because you could get you could wake up to a great card. I remember when you messaged me about the Rikka support, I was just looking on the Yu-Gi-Oh subreddit, maybe 20 minutes before, and didn't see it.
You said, I messaged you, wow, Rikka got 2 new support cards, and you said, fuck off, really?
Yeah, because I was working, I was busy,
Yeah,
right? And I'm like,
yeah.
he's lying, because I just looked at the Yu-Gi-Oh subreddit. I'm like, how the fuck did I miss this?
And then I wholeheartedly said, like, this is one of the best in-archetype field spells I've seen.
Yeah,
And it's great, because like, even Lair of Darkness doesn't search.
yeah.
You gotta search for a spell and trap. It's really, really good. So it's just Power of the Elements is going to be fantastic. That's not even it. Like, I believe Power of the Elements
There's
is
so
also
much.
getting my phenomenal Exo-Sister support.
Yes.
Which has the special summon and like main deck monster just special summons itself from the hand. Very good. Any card which special summons, like Galaxy Soldier, for example, $40. So this Exo-Sister
I don't want
main
to talk
deck
about
monster,
Galaxy Soldier.
Very good.
That has to get a reprint.
It will at some point.
Maybe Ghost in the Past.
It
Fingers
will at
crossed.
some point. Fingers crossed.
A Ghost Rare Galaxy Soldier.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so that's getting a new card. It's getting a new trap, and it changes the deck completely, especially the main deck monster. There are so many cards to be excited about this year that have already been announced, and because we have so many decks, it's not just a couple archetypes.
Yeah.
It's generally like 5 to 6, maybe
Yeah.
even 7. you know?
Between both of our like deck counts, every set is now interesting.
Even and this is what we'll touch on now is the Fallen of Albaz structure deck. Even that, so obviously being like a Dogmatica archetype, but all the staples in there can be ran in like all of our decks.
Yeah.
Pot of Extravagance works in like half my decks. If you want to run Dark Rule or no more, you can. You'll make room for it if you need to, if you're not trying to OTK. They've got all these fantastic staples that even if you're not running archetype cards, this is the best, probably besides Dual Devastator.
Yeah.
This feels like the next best thing to get you into it.
Yeah, 100%. So we've been claiming how great Dual Devastator is. We both got it early on into our Yu-Gi-Oh like playing careers, and we say Konami needs to do this again. The like Magic have a similar thing to like this, and this is it.
And much cheaper.
Much
Much
cheaper. $20 retail in Australia, $10 retail in America. These staple reprints in here are incredible. I'm not going to be playing Dogmatica, but I want to pick up 5 copies of each staple because it is just incredible.
Right.
I'm sure, like, so for those who don't know, it's out in the US right now.
Everywhere else,
It got
except
everywhere else. And Josh is very mad because it got delayed in Australia. Fair enough. But Freezing Chains got delayed, and you know how excited I was for that.
You were very excited. I've never seen you so disappointed about something before.
Look, it is what it is. But I want half the reprints, like staple reprints.
So
in this.
I've got the card list here. So the staples that matter. Obviously, there's some really important things. You've got Artifact Scythe, which if you're playing meta, a common Artifact Scythe.
Yep.
Now super easy to pick up. You've got your Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit and Effect Veiler.
Great.
You get
They can be useful in any deck, especially
Any deck.
meta or non-meta if you want to throw in a single hand trap.
Absolutely. You've got your Omni Dragon, you've got your Starliege Sea for it. So if you want to play a bit more Dragon Link stuff,
I could chuck them in Dragon Maid and be fine with it.
there you go. Like those are the monster staples, which are extremely good. Some of the other staples have got Gold Sarcophagus, which is always a nice reprint. Called by the Grave, which is insane. Dark Ruler No More, which is still at 3, which is insane. Warning Point, which was $20 when that first came out. Now it's printed in a damn structure deck. There can be only one. Dimensional Barrier. If you're playing a back row heavy deck, Waking the Dragon is a really good print. I feel like there's something else I'm missing. Oh, then obviously Pot of Extravagance, which is the chase card.
Eight incredible staple reprints just in spells and traps, not including the 5 or 6 monster ones.
It's incredible. I can't praise this damn set enough.
Yeah, and it makes me like this is incredible, and Konami know it's incredible. They really just shove this full. So this structure deck is great for meta players because you can get Dogmatic, which is a meta archetype. It's great for meta players because you can get the staple reprints you need. It's great for casual players because Dogmatica is a cool it's a cool archetype and it's good. It's good for casual players because you get a bunch of reprints. It's good for competitive casual players like us because you get absolutely all that.
It's the anti-hidden arsenal.
It is the anti-hidden arsenal.
You know what? I'll allow Hidden Arsenal for this to exist. Hidden Arsenal died.
So this should live. That's the title of this. But this is the best structure deck. So like I'm torn between picking up 3 of the structure deck or just buying 5 of all the staples.
Really depends on how the staples are priced.
Yeah.
You said theoretically should be very cheap, but then one of our local suppliers, I won't name their website because they're price gauging, $50 per structure deck. AUD. Everywhere else has it between 17 and 20.
Yeah.
They're not sticking to standard retail
RRP.
price. Yes. So it's quite shitty, but because that is being a thing, I can hear in the US a lot of stores are already, ramping up the price of the Abbey structure deck, which would mean, Pot of Extravagance goes up, Dark Ruler No More goes up. It's unfortunate that we can see that happening. So it's going to be a thing where you and I have to keep an eye on it, see how cheap those singles are initially, and maybe snag them up as soon as we can.
Yeah. It's sort of scary because we could miss this instantly.
This is really one of those waves where I do not want to miss it.
No. We could just be watching it like a hawk, like we did with, I think it was the first Maximum Gold where we were just like, when's it up, when's it up, when's it up, when's it up?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was all your Dragon Maid stuff, right?
All my Dragon Maid stuff.
God, that was a fun time waiting for that.
Yeah.
And then it happened like 8 o'clock at night randomly.
Yeah.
So I had to rush to my office. But to put it into perspective, with Pot of Extravagance, besides Brand Infusion, this is probably the second best card in the deck, meta-wise. Pot of Extravagance ran in almost anything meta-relevant. We've never had the luxury of having all that money for Pot of Extravagance.
No, never.
So, assuming it's $8 to $10 per copy, that's doable. I want to get it for a lot of my decks, and I'll run through some of these decks, depending on the price, obviously. Yeah. Playset in Virtual World amps them up drastically. Playset in Mathmech. Playset in Spirit Charmer, because I don't use the extra deck. That's great. Playset in Lyrilisk, I can use it. Playset in Harpy. Playset in my Kraken/Ocean deck. Playset in Exo Sister, because I don't use the whole extra deck. Playset in Magic-y, I don't need the whole extra deck. If I decide to go into it, Rose Dragon I can do, because I don't need the whole extra deck. And then those are the main ones that can really...
9.
And then obviously Dogmatica.
9, 10.
Yeah.
10 main ones, right? And let's assume it's priced at $10. It's $100.
It's a lot. And that doesn't feel too bad. $100 for 30 copies?
I mean, that was 10.
I mean, for 10, sorry. For 10?
For 30.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, 10 for 10.
Doesn't feel too bad considering it used to be like $90 a card and then it dropped to $45 per copy. If I can get 10 for 100?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too bad. Because that's the pot of greed.
Yeah.
That's the easiest pot of greed you're ever going to get.
It's tough because I don't know if many or maybe any of my decks that can really use it.
Yeah. So you may be wondering, just throw some cards in the extra deck. No, we run stuff
we run pure.
So for example, Dragon Maid have two monsters.
So I have a maximum of 6.
Yes. So you can't run Pot of Extravagance in that deck.
A Live Twin, I need all of them.
Yes. Yep.
Altergeist, maybe if I had 3 Drag Vigor on.
And you don't use all of them. You can probably
I
make
could
use
probably
of them
chuck
in
it in Altergeist,
Altergeist.
and that might help a lot.
Yep.
But there's not Mathmech, a generator. I've got
Yeah, you can't
Yormi,
use them in
and that's
that.
it.
There are certain decks I have as well that just can't utilize it as much as I would like to.
I feel like with Shadol would love it.
Well, I run 2 of each thing in Shadows because I like the toolbox.
The variety
thing.
of the toolbox.
So I don't run play sets of anything which stands out. So if I do play Pot of Extravagance, there's a big chance like I get rid of my construct or my window completely. So I'm probably hesitant that, and I have not touched Shadows at all since buying it back from you after you bought it from me. But I don't know. I'm super excited because we thought
very excited.
Raigeki would kind of break our meta at 3. It hasn't altered anything. I've not felt it at all.
No. Well, because not many of our decks can run it at 3.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
We don't have the space to spare for something that doesn't lend into...
Especially since we don't run many engine decks. We run a lot of full archetypes. The ones that can run it have gotten stronger.
We have 2 decks I know for sure that run it.
Yeah.
Live Twin, Sky Striker.
And they're already very good.
Already very good, very small engine.
Yes. So that automatically makes them better, which makes me a bit nervous that they're just going to separate them from the rest.
I don't think so. Like, Live Twin, they struggled against... I can't remember what we were testing them against. We're doing a set, and they did struggle against something.
That's true.
And then Sky Striker, I believe lost to Orcus the other day.
Yeah, they lost to Orcus.
And that was with the 3 Raigekis. So
True.
It happened. I don't think we've felt it at all.
No.
But then I think Pot of Extravagance, if we actually do manage to pick it up for a good price, that's something we will see quite frequently, I think.
It's interesting because I freaked out at Raigeki at 3. It fucking threw me, right? I just really gotta trust Konami.
I think so too. Like 100%.
Like,
people are always bagging on them for certain sets. They hate the ban list. Konami don't know what they're doing. Yes, they fucking do. If they didn't know what they were doing, we wouldn't be in a 22nd year of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Especially with the ban list, we just gotta trust them.
Just trust them.
They obviously saw this was getting too control heavy. That people were setting unbreakable boards. We just gotta trust Konami.
Just trust them, man. It's fine. It's fine.
They have the clairvoyance to see what's coming next that we don't.
It's interesting because obviously we play in a pure casual competitive meta.
Yeah.
So there's very rarely do we see Ash Blossom. Very rarely do we see a Vec Veiler. We never see Nibiru. We don't see Appaloosa or anything like that in the extra deck. No Utopia. But I don't feel like we're really that hindered by the ban list. Like, the one thing that really did hit us on the ban list is when I was trying to build Thunder Dragon. With Colossus banned, it wasn't really playable. Especially even if we did decide to run it at 1, it's still not very playable. We just get rid of Colossus and I've got no more Colossus.
And you're done,
That's really the only thing. Besides that, I know Recital Starling's at 1 and I run Lyrilisk, but I can still run Lyrilisk.
Same with Orcus. Symbol, is it Symbol Skeleton?
Harp
Horror is banned. We allow 1 to the deck to run. Even if we were to take that away, Orcus would get worse, but they wouldn't be dead in the water.
They'd still run. And it's a lot of effort to them to somehow walk that fine line of obviously making sure nothing's too broken in the meta. I know there's always something broken in the meta, but that's a different discussion.
There's no tier 0 anymore.
No tier 0. It is getting close though, which we'll talk about shortly. There's not much to talk about, but I'm curious to get your thoughts. But it's somehow also, if you wanted to play in an environment that we play in, we can still adhere to that ban list for the most part.
And we do.
Because when Raigeki was at 3, it was announced at 3, you were shook by it.
Yeah.
No one saw it coming, but you were like, this is going to break our meta.
I was convinced.
And you were like, can we please make this at 1? That was a suggestion. And then I said, if we start limiting certain cards, we've got to go through the entire thing. When does it stop then?
And I agree with that. That's just too much.
And I think we've been in a really good state with the meta's been pretty good and our state of play has been really good.
Really good,
They know what they're doing. I don't have any shit to give Konami except for Hidden Arsenal, but if that died so our Baz could live, I'm all for it.
We're all for it. I agree with you 100%. We just have to trust them. Yeah. They have the Clairvoyance EX to see everything in the future that we don't.
They decided not to, do anime sets. It was going to be, we're going to support these archetypes this set, and the next set will support these archetypes. That has been the most fun thing. Like, we got into it at the right time.
Yeah, 100%.
Really, really did.
You wanted to talk about the meta a little bit.
I was just curious
As someone who
as to your thoughts.
barely knows anything about the meta.
So, you know what tier 0 is?
Yeah.
100% of the
Zodiacs.
participants run Zodiacs, for
Yeah.
example. I think there's only been like a couple tier 0 decks in history, Zodiac being the most infamous. It's getting very, very close. Besides that one dude that ran pure Eldritch last week.
The homie.
The homie. Everyone is playing Adventurer DPE.
Yeah.
Everyone. And it's starting to get quite frustrating. Not for me, because I don't watch meta stuff. I don't keep up to date with it. But obviously, I hear everyone talk about the meta. And this is the first time where I've been hearing them say, this is getting very boring to play against and watch. And it's just not a fun time all around with how expensive it is. If you want to compete, now at this moment, you've got to run 3 things. 2 things certain. 3 things. Prank Kids is top tier meta right now. And then obviously the 2 which you have to play is Adventurer and DPE, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, if you don't know what DPE is. So, because it's odd because Zodiacs was like a whole deck. This engine with DPE and Fusion Destiny and
Prank Kids.
Prank Kids and the Adventurer token, it's taking off and no one was expecting it to be this bad. And I wonder when they're going to do something because they never touched Hacky Fibrax.
No.
Which didn't bother us at all.
No.
They didn't touch Verte Anaconda, which didn't bother us at all. But Verte is a fucking busted card.
Yeah, it is.
Never should have been printed that way.
Yeah.
And then they've got all these other cards out, which is just as broken. It's weird because I just said I loved what they do.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
this is the closest we've had to tier 0 from my understanding in a long time. And I believe in the last episode of the pod, I said where it's at the moment seems very good. And then a span of a month, Adventurer blew up.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's probably gotten more expensive. I'm pretty confident it's gotten more
Most
expensive.
probably.
With how successful it is. Just a random, I'm airing my thoughts.
No, I get you. I don't know. Not knowing much about meta. Obviously, cost to entry is the main thing that I care about because that's the one that affects me. That's how the meta affects us, is cost of these cards. I think Despia are kind of cool.
They are cool.
Cannot get into them. It is impossible right now as a bunch of the cards are meta.
Yeah, so luckily Aluba's getting reprinted, which is cool. I think he's getting 2 reprinting this year because he's getting reprinted in Ghosts from the Past,
And
2.
most probably the Mega
And I
10.
believe the Mega 10s.
Yeah, so that's great. But
It's really good.
I don't know. Konami just... They very rarely do a hotfix ban list, right? Like, oh, yeah, just for a tournament, here's a ban list. I trust them.
I trust them. It's just, you can, not print completely generic support for once.
They love
because
doing it.
I still sometimes think about Samorg Bird of Sovereignty, and I'm like, man, they did our boy that way.
So Bird Up could live.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was, you played Samorg,
Yeah.
and straight up was like,
The
it was
new
the dragon.
set was coming out a week later. The new support.
Yep.
And then the boss got hit.
Yep.
The only extra deck monster got hit.
And we've always said, if it's a boss monster, do not make the materials generic.
Yes.
Don't do it. Don't make Verte Anaconda 2 effect monsters. That's stupid. Make 1 Predaplant monster, 1 something.
Yeah.
And make sure you've got to play maybe some kind of Predaplant engine, but you can still use Verte.
Yes.
That's fine. And then it's perfectly viable in Predaplant, running it pure. Love that stuff. Bird of Sovereignty, unfortunately, it was just random shit.
Yeah.
That was fine. But I was looking at Dynamorphia. They all require 2 Dynamorphia monsters. Why the fuck? Because their effects all center around specific niche aspects of the game. Why not make that generic?
I don't know.
Out of all the shit.
I don't know.
It was so weird.
I honestly don't fucking know. Like, I don't know what... Like, I trust them here, but I don't know what makes them say, okay, this... generic. That one, you require 2 Dynamorphias on a Thursday afternoon.
That's exactly what I mean. I'm not complaining. I just want to know the thought process.
Yeah, like run me
Why?
through that because why?
I was just speaking of generic materials. So Alan Bershin, he's the main searcher, requires at least 2 materials in Mathmech. He'll do he has 3 effects, depending on how many materials you detach. Detach 2 searches a Mathmech card. Great for the Mathmech archetype. Detach, I believe it's 3, and you get to search a level 4 monster from your deck to your hand. That's really good. Any level 4. Detach 4 materials, add 1 spell or trap from the deck to the hand. Just completely generic. And it only requires just generic level 4 monsters. I can understand why this card's gone up to $90.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't seen it more often.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, 2 cock-a-doodle-doos.
Yeah, you could totally turbo out this card.
I'm sure there's better
search
ways, but
1 spell or trap
any
from your
spell or
deck.
trap in the game.
Crazy.
It's like searching and a generic search of a generic spell or trap. Any card
I could search Raigeki with that fucker. Like, that feels
MST.
weird. Oh, yeah, that's when I'd need
power
it.
card.
Absolutely. If I could flood the board, I'd need an MST, that's for sure.
I love MST. Everyone clowning me. I love MST. We're probably going to wrap it up here as we are approaching time.
Are we already?
Yeah.
God, it just feels super quick.
Yeah, we had a few more notes because we've got our tournament approaching soon, but I don't think the viewers are really that interested in our tournament, our mid-year tournament. Let us know if you are super interested in our tournament. We might make a video once the brackets are announced.
Yeah, we'll probably do a thing, because I want to do a video as well, just kind of showcasing all the decks we're building. I was going to do it yesterday, but obviously you weren't here, so it was like, it would be a bit weird if it's just me.
I guess.
But I would like to just explore a bit more of actually what we're building. You guys see a lot of the deck builds we do. You guys show a lot of love. The live duels are doing really, really well. We're like 200 views for the Dinomorphia S-Force one. We're going to be doing some more theme duels like that. We're going to keep it more themed.
We realized that a lot of our live duels were themed, like, this cyberpunky, cyber suities, and then some other ones as well.
Yeah, so something cool, because obviously you guys actually interact quite a lot, and I really appreciate that. Something I would like to do is obviously, I guess, showcase all of the decks we're building. Just go through them one by one, even the decks that
like
we're
the slow building? Okay.
Slow building, and even like all our boxed ones ready to go.
Yep.
Because people only see our deck builds. They don't actually see the decks that we're working on built. And it would be, potentially, if you guys want to see it, you guys can suggest matchups. We'll do them.
True. Or if they see all the decks we have and say, oh, I want a proper deck build video on that.
Yeah. Someone's still asking for Phantom Knights and Ice Barrier.
So Ice Barrier will never happen unless they get more support.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm just straight up honest. Like, they fucking suck. I love them, but they fucking suck. Phantom Knights...
Even in our pure meta, they suck.
Even in our pure meta, they're awful. And Phantom Knights, I am building them. I'm slow building them, so I'm getting like a card a month or whatever. So...
1 card a month will be done in 30.
Yeah, so they'll get there eventually. They'll probably be done by like August.
Yeah, and they're always getting reprinted, which is good. So cheaper and cheaper.
They'll get there. But yeah, I'd be down to showcase like decks we're slow building, decks that are done that you guys don't know about. I'd be more than happy to showcase that.
Yeah, cool. I love it. Well, that'll do for this episode of the Misplay podcast. I have loved every episode we've done. Thank you to everyone that's watched. Please keep suggesting stuff. Keep leaving comments. Keep doing whatever it is that you guys are doing. You guys are lovely. Thank you, Tyler, for joining me on the latest episode.
Thank you, Josh, for joining me.
And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Deuces.